What is going on, mis pollitos? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're picking up where we left off from last week, and I'm going to use this flat bar right here to kind of make my plates and mounting brackets essentially for the air tank, and as well as I'm going to make some little cuts right here for the tube and kind of extend part of the tube out this way. Or what I could do also is just cut the other tube that I have and redo this one. But I'm going to try the first method first to see if I can extend this out a little bit this way to make it a little bit more cleaner and more uniform. So that's what I'm going to be doing on that flat bar to make the mounting brackets for the tank. And I'm testing out my little tripod, handheld tripod. Hopefully the audio is not too bad. But let's go ahead and get started on this. Once we get that all tacked up and mounted, then we'll be able to start fully welding the links in. And then I'm going to pull the links out to be able to send out to get painted, as well as the lower control arms. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this time lapse and start fabricating some sort of brackets for the air tank. So let's get started. So I came up with a little bit of a different idea. I'm going to do a plate that's 90 to kind of give it some reinforcement, and then I'm going to add another plate that goes back here. And what I'm going to do instead is use these two holes, and maybe I'll drill one like right up here somewhere, and I'm going to essentially make these brackets bolt in. That way, in case if we ever want to swap out to a different tank, if he wants to like swap out to an aluminum tank, we don't have to go through the hassle of grinding these brackets off if I were to weld them in. So I'm going to make these bolt in. That way, essentially all we would have to do is make new brackets to mount to that same spot. So I already got my pieces cut, so I'm just going to start tacking these together, set them back in place, and maybe put 2 screws and nuts through it just to kind of hold it in place, and then remount the tank and see how that lays down. And if I'm satisfied with it, we'll grind everything or start welding the brackets fully. And then I got to go get some hardware to be able to bolt it in. So that's my process, what I'm going with right now, and we'll see how it comes out in the end. tank all mounted up. The brackets are just tacked up for now, and then I only got 2 of the 3 holes that I'm gonna be drilling or bolted in. Don't have a bolt obviously in this one, and I'm not gonna put a 4th one because I think that'll be a little excess. So like in case, let's just say for whatever reason we're gonna end up replacing it, 4 brackets or 4 bolts would be a little pain in the butt to try to get to from underneath the truck. So we're only gonna do 3 for now. We got plenty of clearance there. It's close, but we got plenty of clearance. We're not gonna have any issues there. And if we do, I'll just end up making some new brackets and just scoot it up just a little bit. But all in all, I think that's where she's gonna sit. And if you're curious as to what I was using, this is the cutting fluid that I use whenever I'm tapping out some or drilling out some holes. Works like magic, just as it says. So at this point, I think I'm ready now to pull those brackets out and start welding those up, pull the bags out, pull the links out, and start welding all the brackets that are on the differential, because those will be ready to go. So I think that's gonna be it for tonight. So I'll tackle that tomorrow when I get home from work. All right guys, so now we're gonna tackle the little bridge that we're gonna make right here with this little leftover piece of the tubing for both sides. Gonna try to see if I can make something out of this to fill in those gaps. And then once we get this cut up, gonna start prepping everything, at least or on the notch right here, cleaning off a little bit more to the bare metal, and then we will be ready to start welding. And I'm gonna see if I can finish all the welding on this tonight, and then pull all the links out, pull the differential out, or at least set it down on the floor over here somewhere, and then get that painted. I'm gonna paint that here. I gotta load up the dashboard and then get this prepped, the frame prepped and ready for paint, and then send the links out as well with the lower control arms. So that's going to be the tackle for today, and we'll see how far I can get on this thing tonight. So let's go ahead and get going on this. right, so since we're all set back here until we get the cross member, or the shock brackets for the back, I am going to go ahead and move on to moving the cross member, or this little platform that the fuel tank sits in. Gonna cut, or not cut, because I thought it was rivets, but it's actually some bolt holes. So I'm gonna remove that bracket, move the bracket. I believe it's 1.5 or an inch. I have to double check on Intumis's website, but drill new holes for that bracket, and then you'll have to cut out a slot right here, to make some clearance for the fuel tank. So cut a little bit off of the cab, and then that should be it for the fuel tank side of the things. So I'm gonna do that real quick, set it up, and get to drilling some new holes, and that'll be pretty much it for that. Nothing gonna be too complicated. So I say that now, but now that I said that, pretty sure something's gonna happen. So let me go ahead and get this cut out and see what we run into. Bracket is drilled and mounted in place. Got the back of the cab notched out. Now I'm going to open up the fuel tank. I'd like to get some of the fuel out in order to make it a little bit easier to maneuver up into the spot and check for my clearance, because it is probably like halfway full. So I need to make it a little bit lighter to work with. So I'm gonna do that next, and then test fit it into into its new home and see how it fits. So that's going to be the test. Guys, fuel tank is in and she fits like a charm. I did have a little bit of an issue trying to get it in there. Up here in the back, I just have it clamped in with a vice grip just to make it a little bit quicker. The hard part was trying to get it up and onto that little bracket that comes off of the frame, because it was a really tight fit. So what I had to do was loosen up the bolts, the 3 bolts on the outside, to kind of let that arm drop down, and that was enough to get over that little hump, because it does have a little notch that the bracket's supposed to sit in. So this little on the fuel tank, it's got a little cutout. So with it touching right here, it was touching the cab as well, so it couldn't like fully seat. So just loosened up these bolts again to drop it down a little bit and be able to slide it up in there. But from the outside here, you can see that we moved the holes for that bracket right here for the fuel tank. It was 1.5 inches up. Now we're only utilizing 3 bolts because that 4th one would be on this body mount, and essentially that would not work at all. So that's what Infamous's instructions say on their website, so you can check it out on there. But it's pretty much just held on right now with it's going to be three mounting holes. So that's all set up in there. Everything else was welded back here, as I mentioned before, and the last thing will be to mount some sort of shock mount bracket. So I got to get that ordered and coming, but fuel tank aspect of the build is now complete. And once we get the brackets for these shocks, I can finalize that last piece that I got to weld in, and then I can finally pull the links tank and send those to get painted for the theme of the truck. So that being said, I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. I want to again thank you guys so much for blowing up the videos. We've gotten over 2,000 and 3,000 views on the first 2 videos, so can't thank you guys enough. Make sure you like, leave a comment, subscribe, share the videos, and I will see you guys next Sunday. We will continue on the Audrey's OBS build. Thank you guys so much.